So I'm going to start with a prayer. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanao Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Guru Pyo Namaha Hari Om. Most of us know this prayer, just briefly, that may we all be protected, may all we be nourished, may we make efforts to acquire knowledge, and our study be brilliant, and may we not have misunderstanding or dvesh. That's what this prayer was. So my topic is Bhagavad Gita, Song of the Lord, which is a science and art of life, dialogue between Lord Krishna and Arjun. We all know that. So basically, we are born and we wonder who we are, where we came from, where we are going. And these questions haunt us some time or the other in our life. And we feel like nobody hands us a manual. Hey, how do I live my life? Or if I have a problem, where do I go? So we are very fortunate that coming from part of the world that we are, such manual does exist. If someone tells us in childhood, that would be great. And that is our Vedas. And I was comparing this situation to when we want to find out what to do, it's like we buying an appliance and we don't have a manual, and now I don't know how to use my appliance. If I have a problem, where do I go? So the Vedas are the one which are like manual of life, so that we can run our life smoothly and be happy. But the Vedas are very vast, and it's not easy to tackle them.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
It's not very easy to tackle them. So what do we do? So we have another opportunity here, great, because the essence of Vedas are in the Upanishads. And Upanishads are many, but the essence of the entire Upanishad is the Bhagavad Gita. And the beauty of the Bhagavad Gita is that Lord Krishna packaged it so beautifully that a common man can, tackle it. And if we get a good grasp of Bhagavad Gita, we have an essence of the entire Upanishads and in turn essence of the Vedas. So that's how it is. Oh, wait a minute. I think my PowerPoint presentation, it says you stop sharing screen. Why did that happen?
Let me see.
Suddenly it just went off.
It's weird.
Should I kind of... Oh, there. Never mind.
There. Okay.
Yeah, it was my own. Something happened in my computer. It's always electronic thing. Okay. So coming back to it, so that he packaged it so beautifully. Even though this is 5,000 years old, the principles in them are completely, totally relevant. So, and it has, to me, it's nothing to do with any religion or anything, because this is more like a science and art of life. And over this 5,000 years, this has caught the attention of countless people, atheists, theists, saints, philosophers, scholars, scientists, ruler and commoner, all alike. And they have done, they have read, quoted, debated, researched, commented, reflected, meditated, chanted, and worshipped, and found solace and guidance from Bhagavad Gita. So that is the relevance of it. And it crosses all boundaries of caste, creed, time, place, is relevant all the time, anytime. And the other interesting thing is that this is also called one of the Upanishads almost, even though it's a sar of, but some saints and sages consider it another Upanishad. And they are very clever when they do the Upanishad, because sometimes the topic is there in the first two words only, entire topic is there. So in Bhagavad Gita, it starts with Dharma Kshetre Kurukshetre, that most of you know. So Dharma is the first word, and the last word in Bhagavad Gita is Mati Mama. So Mama is the last word. So if we take first and last word, Mama Dharma means, my duty, you can call it, or my Dharma. So at one level, what is my duty and all, and the highest level, it tells you what your Dharma is. And whatever Upanishad explained to us, that Dharma is something, the spiritual meaning is our essence, without which a thing is not a thing. That's what is the Dharma of that thing. For example, Dharma of sugar is to be sweet. So if it's not sweet, it's not sugar anymore. Or salt is saltiness, something like that. So,
Umaji,
yes.
Are you changing the slides or is this
Not yet.
slide? Okay, all right.
Not yet. Because, I'm just giving some background.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I was talking about Dharma. So what is the highest Dharma of our human being? It's our consciousness. So we need to know what that is. And one interesting thing about Bhagavad Gita, that Chinmayananji described this, that suppose if Mahabharata is a necklace, it's coming from Mahabharata, this thing, then the Bhagavad Gita is like a beautiful pendant on it. That's how important it is. And even in the whole Mahabharata is put right in the middle of it. So if somebody didn't know anything about, Atmagyan or the topic, but if they are studying Mahabharata or listening to the story, they have to go through Gita. There's no other choice. And, somebody might be totally curious right before the war, Krishna Bhagavan is telling the whole thing. And the person is going to listen, and because he wants to know, did actually the war happened or not? We all know about Mahabharata, so we may not be that curious, but just think of a scenario that somebody doesn't know anything. They'll be forced to listen to Bhagavad Gita, and maybe something great will happen. So, and the other point I wanted to bring was that, to me, Lord Krishna was the greatest of the psychiatrists, because here is Arjun, who literally had like an anxiety neurosis. I mean, common language, we can say nervous breakdown. Here is a man who has everything, all the skills and the best archer in the world and all that. That means it can happen to anyone. And coming directly from Bhagavad Gita, that, what was his condition? And we can identify with this when we get really nervous. His limbs were failing, his mouth was dry, body is shivering, hair is standing on the end, like he's getting goosebumps, bow and arrow is slipping from his hand, skin is burning all over, he's feeling giddy. All this is described exactly word to word like that. So we can identify with him. And in just 700 verses, Krishna Bhagavan turned him around completely. All his doubts are gone. He becomes happier, ready to perform his duty with enthusiasm, and also reach the highest state of self-realization. So it has a capability of taking you. Bhagavad Gita has a capability of taking you to the highest. We just have to become receptive like Arjun. And the most important thing that I found that why we all should study is because this can get us over our sorrows. The reasons of sorrow may be different in different people's lives. And so this is a foolproof remedy. Whatever we learn in the world, or the college or school or something, nobody teaches us how to get over our sorrows. They will teach you how to earn money and how to do this and that in the world. But this is the main thing. And Krishna Bhagavan actually says this, that if you want to get over your sorrow, we have to acquire self-knowledge. And that's what it is capable of giving us. So now I'm going to change the slide, Vikramji. And I forgot to thank Vikramji for giving me this opportunity. So before I forget, I just want to say thank you so much. And also I want to thank my husband for helping me with this PowerPoint presentation, because I really don't know how to do this so well. So he helped me. Okay. So now I cannot change the screen. What do I have to do now?
The slide. You just change the slide. Next
I know,
slide.
I'm trying and it's not doing it. So let's see. Yeah, there it is. I think that. So the first chapter, basically, Arjun was talking a lot. When we get very nervous, we always try to justify our stuff. So the entire first chapter, he was like talking and Krishna Bhagavan didn't answer. He kept looking at Krishna Bhagavan for kind of nodding his head. Maybe he'll agree with me. Krishna Bhagavan didn't. So here is a tip. If somebody is very upset, don't start giving them too much gyan. They're not going to listen to you. So that's another great tip over here. Lord Krishna started talking only when Arjun was receptive. And then he gave him, first he scolded him a little bit, okay, that, what is this weakness coming to your heart, like a friend would. And then when Arjun basically surrenders to him, then only Krishna Bhagavan start talking. Because Arjun realized that, hey, I'm very confused, I need help, and here is a wise person sitting next to me, because he considered him a wise person. So far he didn't know about his divinity. He kind of agrees to listen. I don't want to fight the war, but I'll listen what you have to say. That's all. That's where he was at that point. So now this Bhagavad Gita takes the pattern of a Upanishad. In Upanishad, what they do, they give you the highest knowledge first, and then they come down. It's exactly opposite of what we do in the world. In the world, we start with kindergarten and then go to PhD. Here, they start with the highest, then trickle down, because if somebody already understood, don't need to waste time. That's one way of looking at it. Secondly, psychologically speaking, he had to shake him out of this terrible condition that Arjun had become. Arjun had studied the Vedas and all that in his school, but it didn't sink into him. We forgot who he was. The first thing he tells him is that we are eternal beings. Because here Arjun is all upset that, we're going to die, I'm going to kill this person. Hey, don't worry. We are eternal beings, and that is, I think, a very powerful statement. Whenever we get dejected about something, to know that. And then he also said, death is only of the body, we exist forever. And these are all the different verses. And the reincarnation was introduced here in chapter 2, which is the absolute cardinal principle of all Eastern religion. If somebody doesn't believe in reincarnation, they won't be able to go forward with Upanishads. So that's one first thing we have to start. We have to have Shraddha in it. And then, Advaita Vedanta, that is in verse 16 of Bhagavad Gita. Even though Bhagavad Gita has, Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Raja Yoga, everything, but absolute essence has already been thrown in different places. And right in chapter 2, Bhagwan in verse 16 told him that the unreal, meaning the changing world of matter, has no being, and there is no non-being of the real. So it's a little bit confusing. It's a double negative and all. Basically, it's saying that real is always there and unreal has no existence. So that's why we call it mithya. Brahma, Satya, Jagat, Mithya. That's this verse 16. So I know there was some discussion on our thing about mithya. Mithya is not there at all, but we experience it, but it's not as real as consciousness. It's a changing thing, and relatively it is unreal. So that's good enough to understand what is mithya. We experience, but it's not real. And then the other thing is that chapter 2 is a summary of the entire Bhagavad Gita. Whatever Lord Krishna wanted to say, he already said everything in chapter 2, but everything did not sink in Arjun. Just like us, it's not going to sink in. So he asked many questions, 16 chapters again. It's the same topic, but with more detail. That's how it is. Okay. In chapter 3, the path was shown. So here, Krishna Bhagavan said the goal is self-realization. How do I get there? That's the main thing. That's why Bhagavad Gita is also called the Yoga Shastra, because it has a path. So for a common man, 99% of us in this world, Karma Yoga is the way to get self-realization. So he talked about that. And what is Karma Yoga? It's a very huge topic, so I'm going to just say very, very briefly that it's not about doing a lot of work, but with what attitude you do the work. That is the most important thing that we have to tweak in our actions. So do your duties selflessly, not just thinking about me and mine all the time. Offering it to God and accepting the result as prasad. That's a very briefly. So when the results come, I should not be saying, why did I get this and all that. No, this is a Bhagwan's prasad. That's how you take it. And then the other thing is that there are two verses which are very significant in chapter 3, verse 9 and 30. 9, it basically says that unless you do your action selflessly, without attachment, it will bind you. When nobody likes to feel bound and weighed down. We want to feel free. So unless you do it selflessly, it's going to weigh you down. That is the essence of it. And verse 30 is giving us the tips how to do the action. After we finish the planning and all that, don't live in the past and future. Don't have the anxiety of the future. Don't constantly keep thinking about the past. And don't have over anxious about the present also. Some people, oh my God, I got to do this, I got to do this. So it's saying those are the 3 adjustments we make and then we keep functioning. So that's chapter 3. Chapter 4, everybody knows about the most famous word, yada yada hi dharmasya. So whenever there is a decay in the righteousness, just give me 1 second. Decay in the righteousness. Oh, sorry, where did it go? Yeah, sorry. Decay in the righteousness, God manifests in every age to protect the good, destroy the wicked, and to establish righteousness. And right in the beginning of chapter 4, verse 1 and 2, Lord Krishna gave Arjun his visiting card, so to speak, okay? This is where Arjun came to know that his divinity. Because he told him that whatever I'm teaching you right now, the same knowledge I had given to Lord's son, who gave it to Manu, and Manu gave it to Ishwaku and all that. So it's like telling you the significance of this knowledge, that what it is. And he also told them that, look, with passage of time, this knowledge gets contaminated, it gets lost. So that's why I have to give you again. So that's why we have to accept that this is, so here Lord Krishna's divinity is expressed by him. And then verse 13 is one of my favorite subjects to discuss, but we don't have time, so I'm going to go very briefly. That, okay, we call it the caste system. And actually, the word caste system is very wrong because it was introduced by the British. So it's called Varna Vyavastha. Vyavastha means some kind of arrangement to run the society smoothly, but it has taken a huge ugly form and people get totally confused. But coming directly from Lord Krishna's lips, okay, that this is according to guna and karma, means our mental makeup and our action. So it's not necessary that a Brahmin's son will be Brahmin, because that's not what Krishna Bhagavan said at all. It could be because the environment is right, the genes are there and all that. So there's a highly likely, but not necessarily. If he has a Brahmanic qualities, which are given in detail in several chapters, then he is a Brahmin. So Brahmin ka beta Brahmin is a complete myth according to, you can say that it can happen, but not necessarily. So that's why it is by your action. Firstly, gunas mean make up your mind, and then according to our makeup of mind, we will be acting. So that's what it is. So this is very important in chapter 4. Okay, so now again, for me, it kind of gets stuck. There you go. Okay. Chapter 5 is the thing that really caught my attention was the definition of sannyasi. Very new revolution in the definition, because we think sannyasi is somebody who has totally renunciate and gone in the gufa to meditate. No, that's not what Krishna Bhagavan says. He says that true sannyasi is the one who neither hates nor desires. And here, clinging desire, who gives up and who doesn't hate anybody. And he's free from pair of opposites. Means he has a balance of mind, means doesn't come under the sway of likes and dislikes, success and failure, joy and sorrow. So that's what the true sannyasi is. Okay, in chapter 6 is Dhyana Yoga. So anybody who wants to meditate or is meditating or you want to progress in meditation, I would absolutely highly recommend to at least go with chapter 6 and learn what Krishna Bhagavan has to say, because this is directly from the Brahman coming to us that, what to do, meditate. So basically, what really is meditation, what preparation is required, what kind of adjustment is required in our daily life for successful meditation, what roadblocks are there and how to overcome it. Everything is spelled out in detail. And after listening to 33 verses, Arjun still says, and we identify this. He said, look, you're telling me to control my mind? My mind is like a hurricane winds. Okay, turbulent, strong, unyielding, very difficult to control. What do I do? So Krishna Bhagavan said, don't worry, it's right. It is difficult to control. It's restless, but with practice and dispassion, you can control this. Constantly practicing, practice makes perfect. And dispassion, vairagya comes when we know the difference between real and unreal, that he talked about in chapter 2 already. So that's what it is. And another very important thing he mentioned in chapter 6, that no spiritual practice ever goes waste. See, when we are born again, once we believe in reincarnation, when we are born again, we have to start our studies with kindergarten again. No matter, you may be a PhD and double PhD in this life, but if there you have to start, right, from kindergarten. But here in the spiritual world, you start where you left off. And I think that's an amazing promise by Lord Krishna. And all that is given. So basically, Arjun says, hey, I'm trying, say, these are in word 37, 38, 39 of chapter 6. I'm trying for perfection. Then I slip and I try again, I slip and I kick the bucket, I die. Does that mean that everything goes waste? Say, no. Krishna Bhagavan says, no spiritual effort goes waste. In next life, you'll pick up where you left off. You'll be born in a family that will help you, and there are several verses. But I don't want to go in detail. I don't have that much time, but basically, that's what it is. Okay, chapter 7, Lord Krishna says there are thousands of men who try to get this self-knowledge. There are some successful, but only rare few know me in my real nature, because that's the goal in Bhagavad Gita, to really introduce us who we are and, what is our relationship, who's God, who we are. It's what is our relationship with the world, God and us kind of thing. In the end, we find out that it's all one anyway, but that's the journey over here. And then in chapter 6, Krishna Bhagavan had told Arjun, meditate upon the self, or meditate upon God. You can call it self, reality, truth, Brahman, whatever you want to call. But if I don't know who God is, how can I meditate, right? So from chapter 7 to 6 chapters, maybe 13, 13, tells you who God is in detail. And in that process, here he talks about God's lower nature, Prakriti, which is eightfold, and we all know the 5 elements, the way it is described in the Upanishad: earth, water, fire, air, and ether is space. And then he adds mind, intellect, and ego. So he calls this is the lower Prakriti, and the higher Prakriti is that consciousness. And that consciousness sustains the lower Prakriti. So that's a very significant thing we learn in verse 5. In verse 7, it says, nothing is higher than me, and all is strung in me as a necklace of a pearl necklace. So in the pearl necklace, when we look at the necklace, we are looking at the necklace, but there is a thread that is going through it. That's how everything is held together. Otherwise, it will just not be. Now imagine the whole cosmos. Who is holding it together like a pearl necklace? Because everything has a harmony in the. It's not a chaos, it's cosmos. So everything is held together in harmony by me, meaning that consciousness, me meaning, when Krishna says me, he's referring to consciousness, because he's one with consciousness. That's why, at that time of speaking. The chapter 8, verse 5, fantastic promise he gave to everybody. He said, if at the time of death, whoever remembers me alone, he will get my being, means I'll get moksha. Imagine that. That's why so many people like, marte time mein na Bhagwan ka naam yaad aana chahiye. Magar, if you don't practice rest of your life, it's not going to come. Because when the chips are down, when you're feeling sick and we are ready to quit this world, the most predominant thought in your head is going to come forward. If it is of money, that's what is going to come forward. If it is of your family, that's what is going to come forward. So if you want that, you should remember God. You got to remember God now. From continuously remember, meaning you be in touch with that Brahman, then only you will remember that. So that's what chapter 8, had a very important thing. 9, Krishna Bhagavan started with the biggest advertisement for the Brahma Vidya. What is Brahma Vidya? Most profound knowledge. And, once you know it, all your sorrows will be gone. Who wouldn't want to get that? No matter any kind of deep sorrow, you're not going to get affected by it. It's a royal science purifier. It purify you, will get you direct intuitive experience, because only bookish knowledge is not going to do anything. We need to have the experience. And it is, according to Dharma, easy to perform and does not require any paraphernalia. We want to learn some things in the world. We have so much paraphernalia. This one doesn't require anything. And once you get it, it's forever. So that's why it's called Raj Vidya in this. And in verse 22, which is supposed to be the center of Gita, Krishna Bhagavan made another promise. He said, if you worship me alone, meaning you have that faith in him, have the Shraddha in him, and you kind of surrender to him, I'll take care of you. So you can relax. Whatever you need, I will get for you. And whatever you have, if you need it, I'll protect. Now remember, here it is the need, not the greed. So that's what we have to remember. Whatever we need, he will provide us. And so no worries. This is in San Diego, everybody talks about no worries. This year, Krishna Bhagavan is telling you no worries. So now Arjun was like, okay, wow, that is fantastic. But how do I worship you? It sounds so frivolous now. You said you are everything. And now even if I worship you, I'm taking from your garden only. I give you some donation to somebody. Hey, money is from him only. So everything comes from him. How do I do? So he said, don't worry. If you give me something, it can be just a fruit. Don't have fruit, don't worry. Give me flower. You don't have that, don't worry. Give me a leaf. Can't even do that? Give me water, I'll take it. But what is the condition? That it has to be given with pure mind and devotion. That is the absolute key. So you can give $1 million, but if you don't give it pure mind and devotion, nothing is going to happen. So this is almost like a small child, gives a birthday gift to the mom or dad with their own money. But the dad and mom feel so happy. It's the same bhav over here. It's the love and devotion that you're transferring, not the material things. And one more thing, he said that even if the most sinful person who have done the most horrendous thing, if they become single-pointed in devotion and regard, and start moving on that path, Krishna Bhagavan is saying, consider him righteous already. And he will attain the peace. So no matter what we have done in the past, it does not matter. That's a huge promise by Lord Krishna also. That gives us so much encouragement. Because sometimes we think, oh my God, will I be able to get it? He is telling you, don't worry. Once you start, you will get it. So that's chapter 9. Now chapter 10 is one of my favorite because it's like a poetry. But he's talking about oneness in the cosmos. So there is one in the many, means whatever we see around us, Brahman is in it. So that is one in many. And also the entire cosmos is in the Brahman only. It cannot be outside. Like all the waves are in the ocean. Waves cannot be outside ocean. The same feeling. So many in one. So, and in chapter 10 and verse 10 also Krishna Bhagavan gave a very beautiful promise. He said, if you are really sincerely pursuing this path, I will give you the comprehension power. Buddhi yoga I will give you, because that's another very important thing. We may read Shastras, we may not understand, we will misunderstand, get the wrong meaning, and all that can create havoc. So he's saying that I will give you the Buddhi yoga to get the right import of what I'm saying. A lot of people quote a lot of things and they do a lot of bad things. We have seen that. So that's what the promise he gave. And then he also, like Arjun was asking, hey, how do I worship you? Okay, now I'm convinced that you are Parabrahma, but how can I think about you? I have to work, I have to fight. So then he said that my glory is everywhere. I'm seated in the hearts of everyone. And I am only the beginning, middle, and the end. And whatever is glorious, powerful, prosperous, just consider that manifestation of my own splendor. So whether no being moving or unmoving can exist without me, and then there is no end to my divine glories. and there are infinite beings in the universe. What can I say? It is almost like, oh, alas, what can I say? Because everything is hard to comprehend for us. And then there is a beautiful poetry in there. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but you might know about it, that, how do I see Bhagwan? Then see, the glorious thing is easier to see Bhagwan. So he said, among all luminaries, I am the sun, and among all Indriyas, I am the mind, and among all, I'm just reading few that I really like, that, among all unmovables, I'm the Himalaya Parvat, among the animals, I'm the lion, among the Daityas, I'm Prahlad, and I have this list over here, but you can go to Bhagavad Gita, and I only put half of it anyway. And among all the mantras, I'm the Gayatri mantra, giving the significance of Gayatri mantra. Among all the yagnas, I am the Japa yagna. Japa is really highly. Among all the Vrishnis, I'm the Vasudeva, because Krishna is in the whole clan, is representing the highest. And among the Pandavas, I'm the Arjun. So, and then there are very beautiful things, like in the secret, I'm the silence. Among the knowers, I'm the knowledge. Among all the knowledge, I'm the self-knowledge. So like that, it's very, very, and I'm the seed of all beings. So that's what this is. Chapter 11, now Arjun was like, kind of flabbergasted when he heard that. But now he's saying, Lord Krishna, you said, you showed me how I should see one in many, but I want to see other way around now. I want to see how the whole cosmos is within Brahman, within you. I know this is asking too much, but if you think I'm worthy of it, please show me. So that's when Krishna Bhagavan shows him, he gives him the comprehension power to see the entire cosmos in oneness. And the scientists the way they can look at it is, when we keep going down into, small molecules, then finally we come to the atom. And atom has, same neutron, proton, whatever you guys, I don't even know how to say all these things, but you know what I'm saying. Entire cosmos is made up of that. So scientifically also you can say that, but here in another way you can say he could comprehend the entire cosmos in oneness, in Brahman. That's what the whole idea is. But in the entire cosmos, also there is three things going on: creation, sustenance, and destruction or annihilation. For us, we don't have that kind of divya drishti. It is very hard to comprehend the destruction part of it. Supernovas happening and all, but destruction is very important for the cycle to continue. So when Arjun saw the whole thing, he also saw the destructive part of God. And he got really scared because he saw death and destruction. And Lord Krishna, there are many beautiful verses, he says, I'm the mighty time, destroying everything because it needs to be done. And in that totality, Arjun also saw that these Kaurava armies were going to die. He saw the past, present, and future all together. And so Krishna Bhagavan told him that, hey, look, these people are going to die anyway because they have done bad karma. So their karmas are going to kill them, basically. Okay, that's the law of nature. I'm just giving the glory to fight and kill them. If you don't do it, I'll get somebody else to do it. So just be a nimitta. Nimitta matra bhava savya sachen. That's what the verse does, very significant. And I think this is the same chapter when Oppenheimer, after the atom bomb got exploded, he quoted from here. A lot of us know about that. And Sanjay, who was narrating the whole thing, when he saw, because he was a Divya Drishti too, and after hearing Lord Krishna, and he saw Arjun with folded hands, trembling and prostrating and realizing, my God, this is what God is, this is what Brahman is. And he spoke in a really choked voice, bowing down, overwhelmed with fear. And then this prayer came out of him. And the first thing he said, Sthane. Sthane means everything is the way it should be. Like we have this habit of, oh my God, why like this, why like that? He's saying that in the universe, if you see from that drishti, everything is perfect the way it should be. Everybody's karmic thing is going on and all that. So there's nothing we need to change. We just need to do our duty. That's what basically it is. So the bhakti got exploded in his heart because of this. Okay, that's what happened. So that now the bhakti yoga comes in chapter 12. So after seeing the Vishwarup darshan, the bhakti came into his heart. And now his question was, should I be, praying to the Sagun Brahma or Nirgun Brahma? That confusion is there. And Krishna Bhagavan did not answer directly. He said, actually, it does not matter. It depends on the makeup of your mind. The most important thing is to be absorbed in me. So you can go take each path, it will come to the same thing. So we should not be saying this is better than the other. No, it depends on our own temperament. That was the main thing. And mainly he emphasized on the 35 qualities, which obviously I'm not going to go through. The first one was hate none. None meaning none. Not even a single person. If you hate, we cannot cross to go to self-knowledge. That's what he talked about. And there are 35 and friendliness, compassion, free of attachment, free of ego, balance in joy and sorrow, etc., etc. And there are 35 of them. In chapter 13, very significant thing happened, because here Krishna Bhagavan is explaining the Brahman in another angle. He said that field and its knower. So he called this entire Prakriti, the world of matter, as the field. But there is somebody knower of the field, one who is conscious of it. And he said that knower is only one. This is where he declared that when we say one consciousness, it is verse 3 when Krishna Bhagavan made it very clear. The knower is me, it is one, and know me as the knower of the field, and the same one in everyone. Because we feel like as though consciousness is separate. No, it's not. That's just a feeling we get. There's only one consciousness. And in verse 18, he also said that I am the light of all lights beyond darkness, and I am seated in heart of all, to be reached by knowledge. So basically the physical light also is coming from him only. That's how we can say. 14 was, about 3 gunas. I don't want to go into it, but basically final conclusion is you have to rise above the 3 gunas, become gunatit. And then he also said that serving me with unswearing devotion, you will cross these gunas. That's what the message is. 15 is a summary of the entire Upanishad actually. And Krishna, we think that we know how to make graphs, right? Nobody can make better graph than Lord Krishna. He took the whole cosmos and he made a pictorial graph by making it's called the tree upside down tree, they call it. Okay? It's a pictorial graph of and if you read it, it's so scientific and amazing, because how to grasp this big cosmos into my mind, that's why I use this graph. That's the whole idea about this Ashwatha tree that he talked about. And then he also declared that light residing in the sun and moon and fire, know that light to be mine. And verse 13, he said, I brought that up because there was some discussion, and this is from lips of Krishna Bhagavan. He said that permeating the earth, I support all being, and having become the moonlight, I nourish the herbs. And Chinmayananji said that now a lot of scientists are admitting that moon has a strained connection with productivity in agriculture. And I know we have some Ayurvedic expert in here. And that some physician exposed their medicines to moonlight to get the curative power. So whatever Krishna Bhagavan is saying, there has to be something and some substance in it. And then he also said that I only reside in human beings as Vaishvanara, expressing the warmth in us. So whatever body heat that we have, where food get digested and all that, it is because of that Brahman. Because when the warmth is gone, person is dead. So when the metabolism also, the body heat and inner functioning take place without us doing anything. We just eat, and automatically everything happens because he's doing it. That's the idea. He's the one who's digesting all the food. He mentioned that in chapter 15. So chapter 16 is the divine and devilish qualities. Divine qualities are fearlessness, purity of heart, steadfastness in that knowledge, charity, control of senses, sacrifice, study of shastras, straightforwardness, harmlessness, truth, absence of ego, renunciation, peacefulness, absence of crookedness, compassion towards all being, non-covetousness, gentleness, modesty, on and on going on. You can see how many things. If we want divine qualities, we all have it, we have to bring it out. And the negative qualities are actually few only. If we can get rid of few, we'll be okay. Hypocrisy, arrogance, self-conceit, anger, harshness, ignorance. So why should we develop divine qualities because that will lead us to liberation. The other one, devilish, only bind us, And he tells Arjun that don't worry, you are born of divine qualities. In turn, he's telling all of us actually that we are. So we should not get dejected. We have to just develop these. And then I found this very, very fascinating. I know I don't have much time, so I will leave it to Vikramji if he wants me to finish this next 3 chapters or stop, because it's a little bit, but I thought it was very fascinating. Shall I continue?
Yes. If you can finish in 5 minutes.
Okay. So in chapter 16, he talked about, this is the only chapter he talked about the negative things, but if I just read few, you will see that in sometimes we see these personalities, and maybe sometime within us also these devilish things come out, and these are, first thing he says that these people who have the devilish thing, they think that universe is without truth, without moral basis, without God, it's just lust for his cause. What else? And then holding this view, this ruined soul of small intellect and fierce deed come forth as the enemies of the world for its destruction. Okay? Filled with insatiable desire, full of hypocrisy, pride and arrogance, holding evil ideas through delusion, they work with the impure resolve. And then how he kind of, if you read this other verses, I'm not going to go through, I don't have time, you will be amazed that how these egoistic people think, I'm the Lord, I'm the enjoyer, I'm perfect, I'm happy, and I'm going to give this donation and I'll rejoice. And, they are bewildered by hallucination, entangled in delusion, addicted to gratification of lust. And they fall in foul hell. And then he says that there are 3 gates to hell. That is the most significant in this chapter. Lust, anger, and greed. Lust meaning for anything, like clinging desire for something. Anger and greed will take you to hell. You don't have to go to physical health. You will be living in hell then if you have these 3 things. So then what are we supposed to do? We take scriptures as your authority in determining what to do and what not to do. So that's chapter 16. 17 talks about 3 kinds of Shraddha. There's a huge discussion on Shraddha and belief. He said Shraddha can be sattvic, rajasic, and tamasic. And faith is according to my own nature. And the way my faith is, that's how my personality is going to be. And the food part, we all love to eat. He gives a complete definition of what sattvic food is. Sattvic food is one that increases life, purity, strength, health, joy, cheerfulness, which are savory, snigdhis, chikna, we call it. Agreeable, I cannot read the whole thing, and the rajasic food is bitter, sour, salty, excessively hot, pungent, dry, and burning. These are liked by rajasic food. And the tamasic food is stale, tasteless, putrid, rotten. Refuse means jhutha, impure. That is tamasic. So now he gave us the whole definition. We should decide what we want to eat. Last chapter, chapter 18. So he gave one, it's like a summary of the entire Gita again in retrospect now. So he talked many, many things, but just some highlights that he says, better is your own duty, even if it's destitute of merit. Because don't go and perform somebody else's duty if it looks very great. No, your own duty is the most important. And if you do your duty according to your own nature, you will incur no sin. Very powerful statement. And again, he mentioned that the Lord dwells in the heart of all being. And then in verse 63, he said, okay, I have given you the entire thing now. Now you do as you please. He did not force him. He's saying, you reflect on properly and do as you choose. So he gave him a complete freedom. But then it's like, a child, you tell your child, oh, do what you want, but then you still go and give him advice because you love him so much. So he gave him some more advice. And then verse 66, Sarva Dharman Parityajya. Drop all the dharmas of the mind, intellect, body, come to me. That's what it means, highest consciousness. I will liberate you from all sin. Do not grieve. 67 is very important. That who should you not give this gyan to? The one who does not do austerity or tapas, the one who is devoid of devotion, one who does not render service, one who does not want to listen, and one who cavils at me, meaning finding small faults for no reason, just trying to find some faults. Don't tell this gyan to that person. And verse 68 and 69, one who with supreme devotion to me teaches this supreme secret to my devotee, no doubt will come to me. So learn Gita, teach everybody. Krishna Bhagavan's promise. And the last part is that Arjun says in verse 73, Lord Krishna, my delusion is destroyed. I have gained the memory through your grace. I am firm. My doubts are gone. I will do according to your bidding. And then Sanjay in the last part said, because he got lucky. He got the Divya Drishti to see everything. He's saying after hearing this wonderful conversation between Vasudeva, who is a lord of yoga, and Mahatma Arjun. Now he's calling him a Mahatma Arjun because he's like, Arjun has also got the self-knowledge. He's saying, my hair stand on the end, got goosebumps. And through the grace of Vyasa, I have heard the supreme knowledge directly from the lips of Lord Krishna. And remembering this holy dialogue, I rejoice again and again. And then he was remembering the Vishwarup Darshan, the wonderful form of Hari, I rejoice again and again. And the last verse, Sanjay says, wherever there is Lord Krishna, wherever there is the Lord of Yoga, wherever there is Lord Krishna, the Lord of Yoga, wherever there is Partha, the Dhanurdhara, means ready to, with his all equipment to do work in the world, there is prosperity, victory, happiness, and a firm policy. He's saying, that is my conviction. That's what Sanjaya said. So here, this is just the beginning, because even a little bit of study of Bhagavad Gita can benefit us immensely, and a thought from it can become a mantra that can guide, console, and see us through difficult time. And a deep study of it, followed by reflection and contemplation, can transform our vision and establish us firmly on the spiritual path. So, Hari Om. And I'm going to end with a prayer. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kashchit dukha bhag bhavet. Hari Om, Shri Gurubhyo Namah. Hari Om. So everybody be happy, healthy. Everybody see auspiciousness. May none suffer. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
All right, it's open for discussion, questions to Umaji. Thank you very much, Umaji.
How do I stop sharing the screen so I can get off?
You can just shut off the PowerPoint. Yeah.
Okay.
That's it.
All right. Let's see how I can make the screen bigger here. Not sure what to do here. It didn't stop from doing this, sharing.
Yeah, it's gone.
It's gone?
Your desktop is still there.
Yeah, maybe you have to do something at your end to make me stop doing this. From my end, I stopped it.
Yeah, I did it now, so people can actually...
Uma, when Vikram is doing this, I have always some question of Gita itself. I think it's a great scripture, and in every school, we need to really educate our kids that how to live.
Right.
Happy life, a purposeful life, and how to be benefit for the society. I think it would be a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
But my question is that one of the thing you read actually, which Lord Krishna himself said, that to consider the scriptures as the ultimate authority. And in Sanatana Dharma, Vedas are the ultimate authority. Means everything has been driven from Vedas, whether it's Upanishad or Gita. My question is, in Gita, we usually read the where Lord Krishna portrays himself as a God. But Vedas define God. God doesn't take birth. He does not ajanama, amar, sarabhyapa, all the properties. So how do you comprehend that Lord Krishna was God himself?
Okay, so that's a very good question.
Can we first go back to the screen, remove the screen because it is distracting?
Okay, I think that if Vikram Bhai will stop sharing the screen, then it will come back, because from my end I have stopped it. I don't know what to do.
Is there any
Okay,
way
yeah,
to-
okay, here it is. I see something here. Maybe it's my fault. There you go.
Okay. Thank you.
Sorry. You know what? By doing this, I'm learning something too. Okay, so I think that very good question, Kapil ji.
Let me kind
Yeah.
of give another justification.
Yeah.
Or, Gita is about 5,100 years old. Whereas Vedas, they are like, nobody knows actually, because they were transmitted from generation to generation orally.
They're called Sanatan, means the knowledge was always there, but it get lost and comes back. It's like a law of physics cannot change, whether it is million years or now. That's how it is. That's how it is. Yeah.
तो मैं वो कह रहा था कि जो वेदास हैं, they are way older. तो उस टाइम जो हमारे ऋषि वगैरह थे, they can't be meditating on Lord Krishna, so they were meditating on Brahman, what we call. Veda has defined.
I think I understood your question.
Yes.
So basically, even Lord Krishna knew that Arjun is going to have that same question. Remember, Arjun represent us. Okay? So many times in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna said, this is what the wise people are saying. He did not want to take completely on his own, because our intellect is going to question that. And then it's like each person has a capability of merging with that Brahman. The same experience is there. So Krishna Bhagwan, instead of claiming that because he's completely merged with Brahman, that's why he's saying me. We should not be taking me as a body of Krishna. Each one of us also has the two simultaneous thing going. One is a changing aspect in us, one is unchanging. So that changing aspect, even Krishna Bhagwan had that. That's why he had to drop his body before he left, just like all of us. And the same experience of the truth has been verified by thousands of people, and it's continuously being verified. So if you have a more faith in Lord Rama, by all means go to listen to Rama. It's telling the same thing. So that's my answer, that it's not like Krishna Bhagwan is saying, hey, me, Krishna Bhagwan, believe me. He is saying, believe the wise people. Believe the Shastras, yes.
तो उसका मेरा second question ये था कि I don't know if you know the actual जो भागवत गीता है, जो वेद जी ने लिखा है, उसमें also it says कि Krishna is portraying himself as a god, and और उसमें different है क्योंकि then secretarian came with believed in Lord Vishnu, Vaishnav secretarian. So they probably promoted that that Lord Krishna was God himself.
See, the way I look at it, it is your own Shraddha. We don't need to believe anybody. It's like when you are taking that journey, the Shraddha kind of develops on its own. And here, Krishna Bhagwan, Arjun also didn't believe him. First he thought he was a wise man. And in chapter 4, okay, he gave him the visiting card. इसको थोड़ा बता देता हूँ कौन हूँ मैं. फिर भी उसको नहीं आया. उसको कब आया जब उसको personal experience हुआ. When he felt the whole so when we get that self-realization, then only we will know. Until then, we have to just believe in a wise person. Because even in the world, like if you go to your college or PhD, you have to trust your professors that they're going to give you PhD, right? If you doubt them, you won't get it. So it's the same thing over here. Krishna Bhagwan is never telling you, believe me what I'm saying. उसको experience करा के छोड़ा उन्होंने. तभी उसकी भक्ति जागी.
Yeah, what you said, I think it makes sense.
Yes.
Very well put it. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, go ahead, Mukesh ji.
Uma Ben, sorry, I got off for a few minutes, but I think you made a lot of good points. I think this is the best Gita commentary I've heard.
Wow.
I mean,
I was so intimidated talking to you guys.
But I think the one thing you said, I'll say, that don't concentrate on the reward. The main reason for that, as you said, was that once we concentrate on the reward, it creates an attachment.
Yeah.
That the attachment is the source of our worry. and pain.
Yeah, and also our job will not be good because while working, if your mind is on the fruit of action, we'll never put our 100% into the action. That's how Chinmanaji explains. That's why this
Right.
whole thing about power of now by Eckhart Tolle and all that. Hey, live in the present because present moment is infinity. Because present moment never ends, right? It is a
Right.
constant. That when we say what is infinity, there are so many different ways to look at it. To me, that's the best definition of infinity. The present moment is infinite.
And the other thing you mentioned is the Virat root, not just the gross, but you also mentioned the quantum.
Yes.
And also the destructive part of the
Yes.
nature, destructive part of the cosmos.
Mm-hmm.
And third thing I would say is that if you are in praise of God or praise of Lord or cosmos, it will help you.
Mm-hmm. Right.
We are anointed, we are blessed,
Yes.
but we don't seek that help. We say, oh no, human beings will help us. Human beings are fine, but
Limited.
if you are self-actualized, you are above that. We are above the basic needs. You are above the love and respect of others. You are getting direct energy from the cosmos.
Correct.
So,
Yeah.
in praise of Lord or cosmos, I think that's people ignore. That give you a higher intelligence, and you admire things more. So there's a psychologist. He wrote a book about this. He's saying you get self-actualized. In self-actualization definition was you get more peak experiences. Peak experiences means you enjoy everything. You don't have prejudice. You admire even the opposite. You admire the flowers, you admire the rain, but you also admire the storm. Well,
Right, correct.
Not admire, but you know that that's the nature of a cosmos.
You take it as a whole. You take it as a whole. Everything we have to take it as a whole. Even if friends, if I only like good part of him, not bad. No, I gotta accept him as a whole.
Right.
That's the whole idea. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Sure. Mukesh, you had some question. Yeah. We can't hear you because you're muted.
Thank you very much, Umaji. It was a great, very abstract in 45 minutes, so it was well done by that.
Thank you.
The question is, as we born in this planet as a human, only karma we have it is our karma or action, which is the karma yoga. In making that karma yoga to a direction which we would like to take it, we can take the help of bhakti yoga or a gnana yoga. I'm just saying my understanding, and forgive me if I'm wrong, and let me know if to correct it to me. So some people take the mark of bhakti yoga to make a direction of karma yoga into the right direction in the path of dissolution. And some people use a gnana yoga with acquire the knowledge, digest the knowledge, and do the right things in the life to make the life more qualitative and quantitative for the well-being of the others right there. And it varies on the faith you have it, or it varies on certain different type of knowledge you want to have it instead of having the faith on something. So what do you suggest, or what do you think?
Okay, I'll go back to Krishna Bhagavan. Yeah, I understood your question. So basically, there are so many different, what do I choose, right? So Krishna Bhagavan firstly said, kind of knew that 95% of us, we have to start with karma yoga, because bhakti and all, it's very easy to say bhakti, because bhakti is very difficult. Unless you know the person, you cannot have the devotion, even in the worldly sense. If I know somebody, I can only have devotion if I understand him properly. So first we have to understand who God is. That's one point. And Jnana Yoga is like directly going to Jnana Yoga is not possible if our mind is not pure. Very dangerous, because we will pick up wrong things and the wrong ideas. So it's like cleaning a vessel, then putting food in it. That's the whole idea. So cleaning the vessel is karma yoga. So you start with hey, I'm doing action. First I'm doing a selfish way and all. Make it unselfish. Hey, doing for your family, not just for myself. Then doing for community, doing for the cosmos, here recycle, do whatever. So I'm that way I clean up my mind, and then the whole chapter 3, 4, 5 is how to do that. All the, we don't have time here, but we have Bhagavad Gita available to all of us. Study the 3, 4, and 5, and that will tweak it. Make our mind clean, and then bhakti will automatically comes in you. When you know what God has done for you, what is God and nature of God, bhakti will, and then jnana and bhakti learn merge. So that's how it is. But Arjun said to Krishna Bhagavan, hey, if you think knowledge is the highest, why are you asking me to do such a horrible job of killing? And Krishna Bhagavan said, unless you do the proper way of karma yoga, you cannot get the gyan. So it's like, बोलते हैं ना, कांटा कांटे से निकलता है. So you got to fix your action with the good action, and then you become fit for knowledge. So that's the message of Lord Krishna.
Yes. No, I got it. It's merging together rather than choosing individually, right?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Yeah,
Pamela ji. You have to unmute.
And a couple of things. See, karma yoga, we say that karma jo hum roz kar rahe hain, wo, that is karmas. But karmas means by action, by thought, by your speech. All the three has to be.
Karma yoga definition is very difficult to grasp.
Right.
Because Krishna Bhagavan ने already declare कर दिया कि जो कर्मों का जो बोलते हैं ना कि what is karma, बड़े बड़े ज्ञानी भी नहीं जानते, because the scope is so big. I may be doing one action thinking I'm doing such a great action, but it may be harming somebody else. I don't know. So I'll never understand. So he gave you tips. And then secondly, another reason he said karma yoga was so important, that no living being can live without doing karmas. Because when the definition of karma yoga, we think that doing some action physically is karma yoga. No. Sitting and doing nothing is also karma yoga, because I'm sitting. In fact, they say that breathing and all also comes under the karma only, because some action is happening. So how I do it, that's what the most important. What attitude I do it. And final attitude is oneness. Like how I manage my own body with oneness. Like Chinmayananji said, that suppose if your finger goes into your eye and hurt your eye, you're not going to chop off your finger. The same finger goes and massages the eyes. See what I'm saying? Something like that is karma yoga. When you see the whole universe at oneness, you will do everything to be harmony, fix everything, and not constantly say, oh, this guy is bad, this guy is good, nothing like that. So it has a very huge scope. And complete karma yoga will understand when we go through all 18 chapters and read it a few times and learn it through Mahatmas, and then it'll sink into us what they really mean by karma yoga. Otherwise, some superficial definition is not going to do it for us.
Absolutely, yeah. But एक उसमें ये भी गीता में कहा है कि make sure when you are giving some charity, so how that money is being used. If for example, यहाँ पर कई organization है, so you give actually with a good intention,
but they may do bad things.
Might be using it for something which is bad, harming the humanity.
It gives you a complete way, sattvic, rajasic and tamasic giving. Sattvic is what you're talking about. Somebody who कोई सचमुच भूखा है उसको खाना खिलाओ, that is sattvic. मगर already किसी के पास भंडार भरा हुआ है, तुम जाके दे दो, just for name and fame, then that is rajasic and trying to hurt somebody. Like, or मैं दान दे रहा हूँ and giving cigarettes to some little kids. I'm just giving a gross example. That's tamasic. So the whole remedy is given that how to give. True. Desh, Kal and Paristhiti ko dekhte hue. When you give, that's a sattvic daan. True.
Very important.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think Pamela ji had a question.
Just a comment. I appreciated that you commented that it's a good way for children or adults to learn about handling anxiety. And that had not occurred to me before. The idea of teaching your children to read the Bhagavad Gita and understand that, we're one with the universe.
Right.
Infinite.
Yeah, it is. There was one verse in Bhagavad Gita when Arjun said, when Krishna Bhagavan was trying to samjhao him and all that, and he said, even if you give me, when he was feeling very sorrowful, that is, even if you give me the kingdom of the three worlds, I am not, my sorrow is not going to go away. This burning my senses. That's what he said. That's how, you think money will give you happiness or family will give you, nothing is going to give me that because I'm so sorrowful. That's what Krishna Bhagavan said. He just smiled at him. And they said the smile, some people say, oh, is it Krishna Bhagavan was so cruel or what? No, it's like a doctor. You go to the doctor and say, oh, I'm going to die because I have this. And the doctor knows exactly what the problem is. And say, oh, I give you antibiotic, you'll be fine, So Krishna Bhagavan had the remedy. So remedy is the self-knowledge. But to get that, to me, that is very important. And I always wish I had studied it in my childhood. I didn't. I studied in my 30s and it helped me a lot with my issues. So basically, it's like, it's there for you, but who gets it when? God only knows, But at least now that we know, we should make every effort for children to learn. And Chinmayananji had that vision. That's why in Bhagavad Gita, in Chinmaya Mission, we teach it from kindergarten. We don't teach Bhagavad Gita, obviously. They do it in 10th and 11th grade. That's why what I do. That's why I kind of am bringing all the points, what I have done in last 20, 30 years, because you start at a very early age with what they can understand little bit, and then you build it up to 10th and 11th. So he has a whole curriculum about it. If we can do it, my God, it'll be so good.
But I think for that we need to have some more condensed few-page version of all the teaching only in a 2.0 fashion where the kids can grasp it with a very limited abstract only, right?
It's available.
Because this new generation of ours are totally different, whether they're born in India or they're born here. I think there is a huge gap between the values and between their thought processes compared to our generation, right?
We feel that way. I always feel that there are always group of people, including young children, who connect to it. We may not know them. And now with the YouTube and all that, I am just amazed that how many people study Bhagavad Gita. We will be amazed. And they were not born in India. They had nothing to do. Somehow this knowledge falls into their lap.
Okay.
You will be shocked. Here in Hare Krishna we go, and they study Bhagavad Gita, all the monks and all, and 90% of them are whites. Mm-hmm. And somehow they connect to it. So it's out there, it's up to us and, whoever. So I think the first thing is to study ourselves and continue to study.
Yeah.
And secondly, then, tell people about it. And if it's in their kismat, they'll get it.
Anyone else? Well done, Umaji.
Thank you so much. Appreciate the opportunity. So talk about my favorite subject. Yeah.
So the next week, I think Anil Patel already sent an email that is on 23rd April. We have a guest presentation on 3D